My husband left our 5-year-old and 9-month-old home alone and refuses to explain why.
Oh, shoot. I'm back on my scoot.
Okay, everybody ready? Ow. That actually hurt. Continuing, my husband left our children alone and he refuses to admit it or tell me where he was. I'm furious, enraged, and my husband keeps telling me I'm making a big deal about nothing. This just happened this weekend. I am on the board of directors for a local non-profit organization. I had to attend an event for that organization this past Sunday and I was gone for most of the day. My husband was supposed to be home with our kids. I texted him a few times and he responded. When I called around midday, he didn't respond, but that's not very unusual. Shortly after that, I got a call from my mom. She said my son had just called her, and when she asked him what he and his sister were doing, he said they were both watching TV. When she asked where their dad was, he said his dad wasn't there. My mom asked him several other questions, and from my son's responses, she believed he was telling the truth and that my husband wasn't there, and that there was no adult there at all. She said he didn't seem scared to be alone or worried about where his dad was at. He just called her to chat. That rhymes. He is Dr. Seuss. Hello, greetings. He has a tablet designed for children with pre-programmed contacts that he can call. It's only a few people just for family members. I left the event immediately and began texting and calling my husband repeatedly. He didn't respond to my first several attempts. It took him about 10 minutes. I was halfway home at that point to respond. I was so confused, so worried, really mad, and I asked him where he was. He said he was at home.
I don't believe in you.
I told him our son had just told his grandmother that he was home alone with his baby sister watching TV about 15 minutes ago. My husband denied it, and I told him I was too upset to talk and drive. When I got home, I checked on the kids right away, and they were both fine. I asked my husband again, where was he? He said he was home the entire time, and he doesn't know what our son was talking about, but he must have just been confused since he had gone to the basement to do some laundry. I ran down to the basement. It was the same load of laundry I'd thrown in the dryer the night before. He didn't do any laundry when I was gone. I asked my husband why my son would be confused about whether his dad was home or not. Where in our home would he have gone and for how long for our son to think his dad wasn't home? That doesn't make sense with a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old. You wouldn't leave them unattended that long. Why was he nowhere to be found when my mom asked my son to go check certain areas of the house? I begged my husband to just admit it, to stop treating me like an idiot, and to stop accusing our son of lying. Just tell me the truth, because being lied to right to my face is so incredibly maddening. He insists he was home, but he can't come up with any believable story of where he was or what he was doing during that time. The way he answers me when I ask him about this and demand truthful answers is so dismissive. When I tell him, you left our children alone, he quickly says, no, I didn't. So anyway, No, I didn't. Anyway, he says I'm overreacting and letting our son's imagination drive me crazy. I'm convinced he was gone. We don't have a Ring camera, but at least one of our neighbors does. I'm so upset about this, I'm even tempted to ask our neighbor for the Ring footage.
Oh, for the love of Betty White, please do it.
First of all, hi. Gently press the subscribe button if you are enjoying what we're doing here so far. First off, kids do not, they don't imagine stuff like that. They imagine like, oh, the magic unicorn has beads in his hair. And he's doing jump rope around the moon. He's doing that right now in our front yard. And they don't just like, Dad's making out with the nanny in the living room. They don't imagine stuff like that. Also, very insane to just deny the way that he's denying. No, I didn't. So anyway, Mr. Jones, you're being placed under arrest for triple homicide. No, I'm not, because I didn't do it. Anyway, so where did you get your vest? From LL Bean, or there's not even any effort in his lying, which is wild. Anyway, we're about to get into these insane updates. All right, update number 1. Last weekend, my husband left our 5-year-old and 9-month-old home alone while I was gone and then refused to admit it or provide a plausible explanation. Since then, we have had many arguments about it. I've been living in a constant state of anger and frustration. I didn't want to fight about it anymore, but I couldn't help it, and I kept bringing it up again and again. I couldn't lay low and pretend to get over it while I waited for him to do it again and catch him in whatever was going on. I also knew that demanding he tell me the truth wasn't going to get me anywhere since he had been refusing to talk and deflecting for days. All it was doing was making me enraged and feel like I was about to have a brain aneurysm. I told him to hand me his phone so I could check his location at that time. He refused. He said he wouldn't do it, and that was a violation of his privacy. He won't be treated that way and refuses to give into my delusions. You think I enjoy being in a situation where I have to beg my husband to show me his phone so I can see where he was at? I hate it. I don't want to live that way. I told him it's simple. If he really was at home the entire time, just prove it. Why wouldn't he want to clear this whole thing up? I got so mad that he wouldn't turn over his phone that I told him I was going to the neighbors to get their doorbell footage. At first he was like, fine, go do it. He didn't think I actually would. He knows I don't like to air drama to others, so he probably figured I'd just swallow all of this crap he's been giving me. Luckily, I was being totally driven by anger at this point, so nothing was going to stop me from going to the neighbors. When I actually started to go out the door, he tried to stop me and followed me out the door.
My heart is busier than a moth at I can't even think of one. I'm too flustered. I don't know what that was.
I felt pure anger rushing through my veins, nothing else. The neighbor, who I've probably said less than 10 words to the entire time we've lived here, told me he'd send me the footage. I went home, told my husband that the neighbor didn't have the footage from that day anymore, and I told him I just needed to go to the store and cool off. So I put the kids in the car and went and parked somewhere while I waited for the neighbors to send me the footage. I have the neighbor's number now too, and he told me if I need any more footage, he will be happy to give it to me. By the way, I happen to believe that I feel like that walk across the lawn to the neighbor's house was a lot more chaotic than what is being told here. He's grabbing onto her arm and she's, I'm doing it. Like, I'm going over there. Hey, hi, Ron. So, can I see your Ring camera? I would be terrified. So at that point, I would, please, God, take everything you need. Do you need my wallet? There had to be too much chaotic energy. Introverted me I couldn't do it. I would fall apart. The video shows a blue car that I don't recognize show up and park in our driveway. A blonde woman gets out of the car and goes towards my house. She walks on the outside of our garage towards the gate leading to our backyard. The gate is too far back and out of the way to be seen on the doorbell footage. She and her car were there for 23 minutes. Imagine that. The car leaves right around the time that my husband called me to say he was home and had been home the entire time, as I was rushing home in a panic and calling him on repeat.
Okay, seeing something happy. Seeing something happy. That helps soothe you sometimes. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
In the house, you know, like you couldn't just wait a few days, schedule differently, get a Google Calendar, get a Google Calendar, figure out something else. This isn't the time to be doing it. At the very least, it's just super inconvenient for you guys, aside from everything else about how terrible it is. Just that alone, you're making it hard on yourselves. One of the two possibilities as to where they went. She either came through the side door of the house, which does provide direct access to the basement, or what I think is more likely is that they were in the backmost area of our yard, which is a gated pool area. Immediately behind our house is a grass lawn. Then you step down a few steps and we have a patio, and then there's a fully gated area where the pool is. It's not like you think of when you picture a gated pool. It's a full 6-foot wood fence all the way around, plus even taller landscaping for added privacy. You can't see into the area at all unless you're inside. I think it's more likely that they were back there because my son said his dad's keys were gone and we keep that gate locked with a key. I asked him how he could explain this. What were they doing? I obviously don't need him to tell me what they were doing, but for some reason I still had hope that he'd finally be honest. He wasn't contrite. He showed no remorse. He was just like, yeah, she was here, but I obviously never left.
You raise me up. I can't think of the rest of the lyrics because I'm too upset.
Who is she? How long has this been going on? And if he's going to be such a disgusting, despicable excuse of a man, then why couldn't he at least have found any other time and any other lie or excuse other than when he was home alone with our kids? I told him I know this has happened before, and I demanded to know how many times he's done this when he's been home alone with the kids. He swears this is the only time, but he still doesn't have the balls to confess to what they were doing. I don't believe him that this was his only time, FYI. I still have so many questions, and I feel like my heart is beating 200 times a minute. My blood pressure is through the roof. I've cried a lot, sobbed, begged for somebody to help me, yelled, screamed, ordered a bunch of books about divorce and custody. And you know what? The next day, after our multiple explosive fights, putting his hands on me and seeking the evidence, he acted like everything was totally normal and like none of that stuff ever happened. I woke up still seething, exhausted, broken, and he's acting like everything is totally normal. He said he was ordering breakfast to be delivered from our favorite breakfast place. He asked if I wanted to go to the store together later and try this new recipe for chili tonight. I would dump that chili into your sock drawer. You're gonna have chili socks for a week. What? Why would I want to do any of these things with you now? Absolutely no acknowledgement or anything he's done or what's transpired between us in the past few days. He deserved an Oscar for how well he was able to act like none of that happened, completely comfortable and non-fazed.
Scooter parkour. Spin move off of the scooter parkour. Take 2.
There's two possibilities here to me. He's either such a ball of grease that he's done this so many times before to the point where he's numb to it, or she just found out that her husband is an actual like sociopath. Like these are the actions of a person who's just completely removed from normal human behavior and human life, and even his children's needs are not even registering to him at all. And that's the kind of person who is in extreme danger to everyone around them, and they need a tranquilizer dart right into the butt cheek. A trank in the stank, if you want to call it that. Some people might, I don't know, it might make it more fun. Today's video is sponsored by Growth Therapy. Hi, so I just wanted to know your rates for in-person therapy. Sure, so it's $400 an hour, and we do not take insurance, unfortunately. Okay, just gonna hang up. As you can see, it's getting a lot harder to meet with an in-person therapist. Hello? Not only is it way more expensive and it's getting harder to find a therapist that takes insurance, but there's also long wait lists and just cultural differences. Hello, can you hear me? Well, Growth Therapy changes all of that. It's a modern mental health platform where you can book a licensed therapist in as little as 2 days and on weekends and nights. You can filter therapists by identity, gender, treatment method, and more. And it's affordable. If you've got insurance, most sessions cost around $21, with some people even getting $0, depending on their plan. And they work with over 50 different insurance plans, including Medicaid in some cases. Are you there? So I give Growth Therapy a good ol'. So if you want a quicker way to find a therapist and get the support that you need, scan the QR code on screen or visit the link in my description. Oh my God, I never hung up. Hello? Hi. I put my headphones in, I couldn't hear you. You just been sitting here this whole time? It's a slow day. Okay, just some heads up. There's some language coming up that YouTube usually gets onto me for. So I'm gonna censor it, but I will attempt to make it fun instead of using loud, annoying censor beeps. So how about that? It's been around a month since I last posted. I received so many messages and comments asking for an update and if me and my kids are okay. I'm sorry for not responding. I sort of acted scared to post this because I don't think people will agree with my decision. Oh, we already know, man.
Oh, please don't say it.
We don't need a LeBron the Decision-esque rollout to know what you're gonna say here. Initially, I really wanted to be able to share an update saying I had filed for divorce when I saw that footage of a strange woman sneaking into our backyard, and even more so when he refused to give me any info or admit to anything, even going as far to say he'd never give me the satisfaction of admitting to anything. I was 100% divorced. I immediately started to research and make a plan. I wasn't in a position to divorce right away. I thought that it might be better to try and keep my head down, pretend like everything was okay, and quietly, secretly prepare everything. Divorce is still on my mind and a possibility, but I'm no longer 100% committed to it.
And she said it. Oh, my shoe.
My husband and I are still together currently and living under the same roof, although he held out on admitting to any wrongdoing, both with leaving our kids unattended in the house and about having Betty by time with another woman in the pool shed. He held out for a long time and we argued a lot. I kept telling him it was pointless and it was only driving myself crazy. He wasn't going to suddenly be honest, and he admitted more than once that he wouldn't tell me the truth and felt no reason to tell me the truth. During that time, I also found him secretly going out to the garage to drink alcohol, which he'd deny. I'd drive myself crazy finding his stash of alcohol and other things out in the garage. He still denied it even though I was literally holding the evidence. Then about 2 weeks ago, he admitted he had a problem, or multiple problems, and that what he did that day was wrong. He finally admitted to leaving the kids alone in the house. He admitted to having Betty by time with the woman in our pool shed. She's not a woman he's having an affair with. She's a Betty by time worker. She's transsexual. He said it in a way like I should have been relieved by all of this. I'm just gonna take a quick walkabout. Sometimes you just need a walkabout, you know? Just need a good, just a little lane to walk. Just stand like a 79-year-old man and ponder.
It doesn't matter that she was a toot. It's still another person that's not your wife. Whether they're a toot or a trans toot, and you're a sleut.
The thing is, I knew he watched Korn. Never seemed to get in the way of our relationship or our lives. I even knew that he liked to watch T-Korn. He was open about these things with me, but I should have suspected this meant he was hiring a trans Betty by time worker to have the real life experience. Honestly, I'm really asking that. Was I naive to think he was seeking out just because he liked to watch that type of corn. I didn't keep the corn a secret from me, and I honestly never thought he was going to seek it out in real life or cheat on me with a trans person. He also assured me that he now only regularly sees 2 trans women who are clean and safe and very professional. Man, the way you think doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. When I asked him how much he pays these women for their services, yeah, they better be a lot of things for that price. I can't believe it. He also admitted to drinking too much and to drinking a lot before he engages with these women. At times he's taken drugs during these encounters too, but insists he doesn't have a problem, meaning addiction. I personally think he's addicted to alcohol and possibly other substances, but he binges them when I'm not around and manages to remain normal and sober when I'm around. Addict. Classic addict. They can act very, 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 very normal. He started drinking more heavily and regularly since that day, hence the hiding booze in the garage and chugging it when he thought I was in the shower. He says he's doing it because he's so stressed about me leaving him and because he knows he's a POS for everything he's done to me and our kids. He's not allowed to be left alone with our kids anymore. He's also not allowed to have Betty Bye time with me for the foreseeable future. Neither are meant as punishment. These are rules in place to keep me and our kids safe, plus I have no emotional or physical desire to have Betty Bye time with him now, so I don't know that our relationship will survive. He fears his job will be compromised if he seeks help for any of this. I'm at the point why? I'm at the point where it's like, screw your job, we'll find some way to survive. This is bigger than your job. He has stopped drinking, at least as far as I can tell. He took 2 weeks off of work to try and figure himself out. He's been helping around the house and doing all of the things a good husband should do. I have hidden cameras installed all over my home and property. I don't want to live this way, but I'm not really ready to file for a divorce yet. I hope to get to a place financially and logistically where I can at least be prepared so that I could file for divorce at the drop of a hat if I absolutely needed to. I've told him this. He's aware that I've been preparing for divorce. He did ask me about Betty Bye time today, how long it'd be before I finally had Betty Bye time with him again. It's been mere weeks and he's already asking that, which is unbelievable in a way. Yet this man tucks himself in several times a day without fail. I don't believe in Betty Bye time addiction, or I didn't before, but I'm starting to wonder if it could be a real thing and if my husband has it. He isn't saying he does, but I'm starting to think my husband may actually have a number of hidden addictions that he can't even admit to himself. In a weird way, it's comforting because I see it as a defined problem that might be fixable. But on the other hand, I'm totally grossed out by all of it and it makes me feel extremely uncomfortable to think about dealing with this possibly forever. For now, me and my kids are safe. No, you're not.
No, you are not. You are living with an actual Mindhunter character.
No, you're not. That's the beauty of being in an echoey office now. I can make wonderful stress ballads. Things have calmed down. I'm not living every moment feeling completely consumed by rage. I still feel that way sometimes, but I feel a lot more steady than I did. I feel more clear-headed and surprisingly almost lacking emotion about the whole thing. It's like all of my emotions came in one big wave and then just washed out to sea. I honestly feel more clear-headed right now than I have in a long time. Oh my God, somebody get in there and help this woman. She is dissociating so hard that she doesn't even realize it. Or compartmentalizing. Yeah, her head is not, it's not clear. It's hollow, if anything, which is bad. I'm no expert, but I've been through a few things. And to me, this just sounds like dissociating, where she just emotionally crashed out. Shutting down like this is just how the brain copes with handling an overwhelming amount of stress. At least that's what I've learned. I'm no expert, but I've been to therapy and that's how it was explained to me, which it makes sense. Like I was a small business owner when COVID hit. I lost most of my monthly income within a matter of days because of COVID. Initially, I just kind of went, interesting. But then I would rage about really small things, like if I was putting a desk together and the screws got stripped. Oh, game over, dude. You start taking out on tiny things because your mind, isn't allowing you to process what's actually really hurting you. And I always say I tend to be on the sillier side with stuff like this, but it is something I take seriously, which is why I talk about it. All right, I've got some more Reddit stories for you. These are about the non-magical world of nice guys and nice girls. All right, I'll see you over there. Toodles. Thank you again to Grow Therapy for sponsoring this video. If you're ready to talk to somebody, scan the QR code on screen or visit the link in my description.